Welcome back to another episode of E-commerce Industry Insiders. Today I'm here with Jimi and Brijesh from eStore Factory. So good to have you guys on. Maybe you could give a brief introduction about who you are and what is eStore Factory.
Hey, Toby, thank you. Thanks for having us. My name is Brijesh. I have my colleague Jimi with me. We, as Toby said, we represent eStore Factory. We came together back in 2014. We come from different backgrounds. I myself come from enterprise solutions, used to work with Oracle Corporation as a middleware consultant. And Jimi has always been in digital marketing, Google, and other social media marketing platforms. Back in 2014, we had caught up socially somewhere and we got chatting, and e-commerce seemed like an exciting space back then. So we decided to focus our attention more towards that. And that's how eStore Factory came together. We decided to develop services that it seemed like e-commerce sellers, even back then, while they were great with their products, working with Amazon and eBay and the likes wasn't necessarily their forte. So we thought we should be able to help them with that. And that's how.
So you're both basically experienced founders from different industries, let's put it like that. And you've already started out in 2014. I mean, then maybe you're one of the more experienced agencies in the market then. I mean, the market is still booming in many agencies, so you've basically seen a lot in the last 8 years in this industry.
Oh, we've seen it grow right in front of our eyes. We've seen how focus, even from the days back then, Groupon used to be a thing, and so we come all the way from then. And eBay was quite relevant back then. So yeah, we have seen the evolution as it came around. Yes.
And then eStore Factory was set up. Where's your headquarter location? Where you guys based?
We're set up in a town called Ahmedabad in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's a relatively smaller town, relatively in the Indian context.
Mm-hmm.
Quite large in terms of the number of people that live here.
But I think it's still a well-known name in the e-commerce industry, though. Ahmedabad.
Yes. It seems to have found a niche. You're right about that. It wasn't back then, going back 5 years, it wasn't, but it seems like it's become like a small hub or a hotspot for e-commerce. Yes.
And so tell me a bit more about your team and the growth of your team in the last years.
Yeah. It has been the last 2 years particularly have been slightly different because of COVID and things. When I say different, what I mean is we have started to distribute our team geographically speaking. We've got people working from home. We have a hybrid model now. We did have a linear growth as we came along. And this work from home model has been really good because we've been able to get talent, not necessarily just from the local market anymore. Our office is right behind us, as in we are sitting within the office premises. So a lot of our staff are actually within the office premises. We don't use subcontracting and freelancing and things like those. All our staff are in-house, but some of them do work from home. Most of them from India, but we also have staff in the UK and Australia.
What's the total size of your team worldwide?
Close to about 70 people now, in between 65 and 70.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So the growth of your team, it happened just recently, or was the team slowly growing over the last years?
It has been a very controlled growth. It has been a linear growth. In terms of the number of people, yes, it has been gradual. We have been quite conservative in terms of how we grew. We didn't take anything and everything that came our way, and it did. There were things that were coming our way and they seemed very lucrative, but we stayed true to our niche. And yeah, so while we have continued to grow, and more people doesn't necessarily mean more fun for us to manage them, because people management is a whole different kettle of fish. But yeah, we are nearly 70 people now, and we've grown gradually.
Speaking of your team, what are the services that you offer? I find there are different sorts of like full service agencies. Some have more specialization in a certain field, like some come from a digital marketing perspective and listing optimization. Others started actually out in like e-commerce fulfillment and warehousing. What's the service portfolio, and do you have any specialization?
Yeah. I'd almost be unfair to some of the other team members if I picked up one and not the other, because they all love what they do. There are different niches, different teams, or groups of people that work in areas. We've got to be really careful if they were to see this and see that I've picked one over the other as my favorite or specialized.
I see. Okay.
My team members will be like, I love what I do, and you didn't mention me as your favorite. But we do have people. We have been doing advertisement, sponsored ad optimization. That's something that we've kind of almost created an art form out of. We've gone into a lot of details, the analytics, the amount of data that we have been through. That itself allows us or gives us the insights. Just because we've worked with so many different clients with varying budgets, gives us a very good idea, puts us in a good position to take judgment calls. In terms of what's a good ACOS, or should we continue with something or change it a little bit. So I think that's one of the areas where the customers really see value in working with us. Product listing and organic optimization, that's another area. Just the sheer number of listings that we have done or our people have done allows us to create an insight. We have an insight into what will work and what will not. And I think everybody can develop that. It's just that we've done so much of it. We've made our mistakes and learned from it. So organic product listing, sponsored ads management, I think those would be the backbone of the services that we carry out. I
see. From what I've heard, there's also like highly increasing demand in all like advertising services regarding Amazon. Yes. That's also a growing part of the Amazon business. So your eStore Factory is a full service agency that focuses on the marketing perspective of things. What are other services that you offer as well, like in terms of account help or
photography of products? So we have photographers in the US, UK, Australia.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that it helps with the logistics. Right from photography to the photo editing. And the other thing that has done really well lately is the 3D rendering, the digital art, because there are a lot of products for which the photographs doesn't do justice for. So those we have developed special teams for that, who work on product photo enhancement or just a reconstruction of a 3D rendering. So right from that through to what else would you say, Jimmy? You've been working on a lot of translation, cross-border, to allow cross-border listing of products. We've done that, and also the A+ content page. That's been another really busy area for us. And storefronts. Lately, you've been talking a lot about, you've got a special team for storefronts now. So as you said, Toby, we are a full service, so hence I end up mentioning just about everything. But the fact is, we've got people working in all of those areas, and they absolutely love the area they work in. Like if I speak to my storefront people, they love it to pieces. They've gone into the details of it, and they've broken it down into what works and what doesn't.
That's amazing. So you're basically having like multiple teams that are all highly specialized in their main topic. And as you said, I think as the markets are getting more competitive on Amazon, it's more and more important to try to keep up with like outstanding listings, with like enhanced brand content and renderings as well. That's something that's maybe new, and that Amazon sellers now have to try to keep up with, especially since renderings has been more like a thing for big brands, and maybe since they used to be more complicated, and not all, especially smaller brands, did not have access to such sorts of marketing methods.
Well, it's almost unfair competition against the smaller sellers, because all of a sudden, as they say, it's not my phrase, but someone has said that you're really selling pictures, you're really selling product photos when it comes to online commerce, and big brands have all access to all these kind of technologies. Their product photographs look so much better
Right.
because they're able to leverage these kind of technologies. So now that's available to everybody. I often say to my clients that if not all of your products, pick your top 3 and make sure you use rendered pictures for those as opposed to the stock standard photos taken. And
Right.
then,
That's a good recommendation.
yeah,
And
good investment.
you're talking of smaller Amazon sellers. Is there like a certain minimum size of business size that you require from your clients? Like
No, we don't do
in
that,
terms of
right?
revenue or company size or something like that? Or could you just basically provide services for everyone? Because I know there are many of the full service agencies, as they grow, they will basically cut off the smaller Amazon sellers because they're more interested in big brands, and
Yes.
so it's basically more difficult, I guess, for smaller brands to find a good agency because the big names don't want to work with them even.
I agree.
More.
I know what you're saying, and I've seen it firsthand. We do have some customers who have come to us that way. So no is the answer. No, we don't have such a filtering criteria. What we recommend to somebody who just wants to try us out or who don't necessarily have a big footprint or don't want to give us a $5,000 retainer to start with is you can buy the services on our website itself. So if you just want to get one A+ content page done, there is a fixed price for it. You buy it from the website itself, minimum interaction, and allows us to work with smaller sellers also.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And also, it gives full transparency on what to expect. They don't have to be
prices
scared to
are
jump on a call with you, not knowing what's the monthly retainer or something like that.
Correct. So the prices are published. It's like a rate chart. It's like walking into a restaurant with all the prices and everything upfront declare. The only thing that I think, Jimmy, you lately started doing is for newer sellers, particularly, we make sure that they're aware of what they're getting into. We don't want them to burn their investments, not be happy with it 3 months or 2 months down the track, because sometimes newer sellers are not necessarily aware of what they're getting into. So,
yeah, definitely.
We do. That's, I suppose, the only little filter that we have. That if you really don't know what you're getting into, if you're looking at this as
not even able to like monitor what the agency is doing because they're just not keen enough on the topic itself and don't know if it's done properly.
Exactly. That's right. So it's no point them feeling like they've got a bit of a heartache because they didn't get what they were looking for. So it's best to build up the expectation even before we start.
That's right. I think that's the right term, like managing their expectations. That's very important, I think, for the satisfaction with clients. So what you're saying is you can work with like the smallest Amazon sellers that I can imagine, like complete beginners up to 7- and 8-figure corporations, basically.
That is right. Yes.
That's amazing. And that's one thing, I guess, that differentiates eStore Factory from other bigger agencies with a similar size. What in from your perspective are other things that differentiates eStore Factory from other agencies? What are some more reasons why you would recommend an Amazon seller to work with you?
Yeah, I think you pointed that out earlier. 7 years in the business, that has taught us a lot of things that we should, but also what we shouldn't do. We've clearly moved away from using any freelancers. Instead of that, we'd rather have people on board. If I can't verify the work, if I can't train them my way, I'm not going to let my clients be handed over to them for the work to be done. So we make sure that our people go through a 3-month intensive training before they can touch a client's account or before they get access to a live project. I think that has made a lot of difference. In fact, we've learned that from Amazon itself. If you look at Amazon, they make sure that the logistics is their own, the warehousing. So we don't do drop shipping of services. We do everything in-house. And that allows us a lot of quality control, that we know what we are doing, and it's not like we are taking the project from one side and then handballing it to the freelancers on the other side. That's not what we do.
That's
So I think
that's a very proven system, I guess. And maybe you are only able to do it this way because you were growing constantly. I think issues with like other agencies that are that have been blowing up in a very short period of time is they had to like get like outside talent and outsource and work with freelancers, and then very quickly they might not be able anymore to sustain a certain level of quality and in-house communication as well.
True. And we've learned that very early on, that it's not going to work that way. It just gives you sleepless nights. Also, you're not being true and honest to your clients if you're using a lot of freelancers on the outside. That's not what the client signed up for. Got it.
So that was an interesting perspective on your company. Now I think what would be interesting for our viewers, maybe if you could share from your year-long experience, maybe some insights of the business itself. From your experience, what makes a successful Amazon sellers? Maybe what differentiates like the successful Amazon sellers from ones that are not really getting their feet off the ground?
Yeah, Jimi's worked with a lot of them. What would you say in your you have so many successful sellers who've been with you for years now. What do you think? What's different about them as opposed to the ones that come and go?
I think, like we touched the right expectation, the successful sellers are not there for the easy instant success. They see that as a business and plan for a long term. So they start with the business, the Amazon e-commerce account, with the vision of staying there for at least 10 years, 20 years,
for decades, not months.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They consider that as a business as opposed to like an instant, within 2 months, 3 months, I'll start earning millions. So that right expectation kept them, well there as a successful sellers.
So that's one factor for success that I also fully agree on. I think there are too many businesses, and even business owners out there that maybe come from different industries. I've seen that also heard that Amazon is a great place to earn a quick buck and make a few 100,000s with easy work, or even earn passive income or something like that. Yeah. So what you're saying is Amazon sellers who have proper expectations, who take it seriously, and who invest also long term. So that's one factor. What is another factor that you see that successful Amazon sellers share, the ones that actually make millions and actually take profits home?
Right. The another in fact, I did survey to all the clients and overall other Amazon sellers, why they are successful. One of the factors that I think works for them, their deep knowledge about the product they're selling. Mm-hmm. There are two types of sellers. Some sellers are, stick to their category, their niche. They know that well. They know all things about their products. And how the products are useful. And some of them are selling anything and everything, picking up the product from here and there, all the any recommendation from the tool, and then trying to sell them, try to make them successful.
Mm-hmm, totally. Mm-hmm.
So the people who are more knowledgeable, more into their products, their categories, their brand, they are more successful rather than selling anything and everything.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think there maybe was some business opportunity maybe 10 years or something ago to just throw any product on the market, just import any trash product, and try to make a few 100,000 per product. But I totally agree. I don't see this working today anymore. And I guess the markets and the demand is still growing on Amazon, and in many categories, for example, in sleeping products, pillows and stuff like that. But the winners are the sellers that specialize on the product and the product quality, right?
Right.
And that's of course is not easy to specialize and to get knowledge on the product, because when you're starting out, well, there's no way you can get this knowledge. It will build up over time.
Correct.
So I guess it could be recommended to Amazon sellers, pick one industry and try to stick to it and become an expert with these products, rather than doing niche jumping back and forth and trying everything, or even simultaneously at the same time.
You're right.
On the other hand, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see Amazon sellers do that are maybe not successful, or that's maybe costing them their profits? What are some of the major mistakes?
One of the biggest mistake, I would say, their perception or their point of view about, my product is the best product in the market. Every other seller, things like that, and then, when you compare, they don't want to see that, what is the best, what their competitors are doing, and what's the best product, what are the best factors in the same kind of products that are working for sellers. And, they don't want to see the price point. They don't want to see the usefulness of the product, and sticking to their own point of view that, my product is the best. I know that customer somehow, can't get it. That's the mistake. Many of my
that makes sense.
Sellers did.
Especially when they're so proud of their invention and the brand and stuff, that they're not open for honest critics about their product. That's definitely one thing that I can agree with. What are other mistakes that you see frequently happen? Maybe in terms of the marketing, or maybe even before they came to you as a new client. Maybe what are some marketing mistakes that Amazon sellers do with their listings before they come to you?
I think one of the other things that we've seen with successful sellers, and not so much with the unsuccessful ones, and therefore it's a mistake, is they don't look at it as a wholesome or a 360-degree launch of a product or existence. So it's not just being on Amazon. Sometimes it needs to be supported with social media marketing and perhaps their own website. So it's an entire story that needs to be told about a brand. As you mentioned the example earlier you gave about sleeping products such as pillows and mattresses and things. You cannot just have a listing on Amazon and imagine that'll tell the full story, especially if you're not a known brand. If you're not weight for a big brand, you would need supporting material or existence, such as website and a very solid and supported social media marketing. So it is, in that sense, at least a three-pronged strategy which covers your 360-degree. A lot of sellers just focus on, maybe because of lack of funding or whatever it is, but they think that being on Amazon is sufficient. It's not. Don't expect to sell from your website. It may not necessarily happen, or through your social media marketing, but you still need to be there, and it needs to be updated to support your Amazon listing.
So what you're saying is, as a brand, you will have to need multiple touch points throughout the customer journey in order to really build a strong brand and grow your brand awareness, and the way that Amazon is offering you to present your products and your brand may not be sufficient in order to get the word out about your brand. You
put it better than me. You put it better than I did. So yeah, exactly, spot on.
Perfect. Well, that also makes totally sense. So this is also something that you do, right? So creating a websites about the product, doing the social media marketing. So you really help the brands with a full marketing, right? Not only on Amazon, but everything that's needed to
we absolutely do. And sometimes we find ourselves doing it at cost price, just to convince the client that it's important and you should do it. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. We actually almost do it at a cost price, because this is the website development and the social media, because it's going to assist. While Amazon is your selling channel, but other existence, digital existence, is very important to support your sales. So yes, we do have those services, and while they are not our core services, but they can't be done away with either.
Amazing. I think that was a great interview with you guys. And please, to all the viewers, if you've got any specific questions to eStore Factory, please write them down in the comments here. And I'm pretty sure we can get Brijesh and Jimmy to respond to them for you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for answering the questions. I think it gave a great first impressions. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you, Toby. Sure.